Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Underneath the Hood. I'm Dave Martin, the owner of Martin's Auto Repair in Central Phoenix.
I'm Glen Hayward, the proud owner of Goodworks Auto Repair in sunny Tempe, Arizona.
And I'm Lee Weatherby with Accurate Automotive in the heart of Mesa.
And together, we represent 140 years of combined automotive experience.
Our goal is to change the perception of our auto repair industry by going behind the scenes and underneath the hood.
And we hope to share with you what it's like to own a small business and give you a perspective from an insider's point of view.
So let's get started. Hey, good morning, guys.
How you doing, Dave?
How you doing, Dave?
Living the automotive dream, as usual.
Good to see you, Glenn.
What's going on, Leland?
Hanging in there, brother. Hanging in there.
Hey, today's topic is, and we've all been in the scenario, and we've all seen customers and clients in this scenario, is that why should any client out there bring their car and stick with one shop versus, going around and doing one thing at one shop, another thing at another shop, and
Great question, Dave.
yeah, why should they?
Well, I mean, look at, the general consensus is, they got an oil change shop, then they've got a tire shop, you know what I mean? And then if they've got a check engine light or something on, then they've got, that shop. And the reality of it is one shop does it all. Your shop does it all. Your shop does it all.
That's correct.
My shop does it all. And the reality of it is the key for the consumer or the customer or our clients is that there is so much comfort in building a relationship with one person and saying, I can come to you and say, Dave, listen, tell me about your car. You know what I mean? It all starts with the relationship that you start to build right there at the counter. You know what I mean? They might not come in and see Dave, but Dave, you've got a service advisor that's going to take care of that customer just as if it was you standing at the counter. Same with us, same with you.
It's the way we train them.
It's the way we train them. And we work very hard at that because what are they doing? They're really listening, getting the specific information. And guess what else they're doing? Taking notes so that, we can understand and know the customer preferences. Now, that's just one of a variety or just a plethora of things. But I mean, that's really what starts the conversation because now, guess what? As soon as you have a little bit of a comfort, now I can communicate with you because let's face it. What are our customers? They're our partners. You know what I mean? And we're partnering together, all right, to repair this vehicle. So if we can partner together, that means we can have open communication, we have a discussion, we can, now I can share with you everything. And that's what we tell our customers. Listen, we're going to find everything that's going on in your car because cars will talk to us. We don't need to manufacture things. We don't need to make things up. You know what I mean? Like you say, we use DVIs and we take pictures and you know what I mean? We want to be able to help the customers because it's not always easy to understand. I think you alluded to the fact that sometimes it's like speaking a foreign language.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I want to say on the other side of that coin, we can go to any grocery store and get the same brands of food.
Oh, absolutely.
We can go to, so many different places and get the same type of product for a comparable price and everything else like that. But why is the automotive industry different? What compels us to encourage our customer base out there and our audience out there to be consistent in going to the same place? Because we get to know you, we get to know your family, we get to know your driving habits, we get to know your car, and we can treat you with a completely different type of not only attitude, but the kind of treatment that you would come to expect from someone who's giving you customer service.
Absolutely. Well, and I mean, to that point, not only do the service advisors know you, the technicians know your car. You know what I mean? They start to learn, the things that are going on with your car. And then they can share those things with not only the technician, but with you.
Well, and those are really valid points. And you're 100% right about that. We get clients that come into our shop that have gone to places where some of the big chains or maybe even some of the big dealerships where they just go through people. And nobody wants to go. How many of us really want to go to a doctor and see him, get a relationship going with him, and then all of a sudden he's gone, and now you got a new doctor?
Yeah, I got a new guy in here.
Who wants to start that out? I mean, it's a nightmare. And
or your regular doctor's there, but now he's got all these assistants. And, I have that experience with a dentist. I love my dentist. And Dr. Chris is great. Now he's got this other guy comes in. He's just not the same. The relationship isn't there.
Well, there you go. That's
that sense of
Yep.
trust. Is this guy as good as the other guy, and that kind of thing. So it's a big deal.
It's your personal preference and the experience, all right. And it is that big key word, trust, because the one thing, and I've said this many a time. In fact, there's a placard on our wall that says, trust. What is it if you really evaluate it and break it down? Trust can't be earned, period. We don't earn people's trust. People have to give it first. All right. And then you can only do two things with that trust. There's only two things that can happen. You can either enhance it or you can abuse it. And you know what? Let's look at a marriage. I mean, when you get together, it's like, hey, man, we like each other. We want to do this. We want to be together forever, right? Well, now that means we have to consistently come up with ideas and ways to enhance that trust. Okay.
Exactly.
But you know what? The moment we abuse it, and it doesn't matter what it is, you know what I mean? Now all of a sudden there's a barrier. There's a little wall that goes up.
Yeah.
The same thing's true in an automotive industry or any other industry like we're talking about. Doctor, dentist, I think, Dave, you were talking about your barber, right?
Yeah. yeah. I go to the same barber every time. But you'd mentioned this in the very beginning that we had talked about the questions, relationship,
You bet.
and all that stuff. See, that's the most important part, because here's the thing. You got the little old lady that's retired that drives her car to church and the grocery store. And then you've got the businesswoman or businessman that is driving their car, relying on their car, maybe
or
in
the
sales,
Uber driver,
or
Yeah.
maybe in the sales.
they
And
never
they're-
shut it off.
Right, and they're on the road all the time. Well, we're going to look at these two vehicles totally different.
Yeah.
How we service them, how we work on them, all of those things we're going to look at totally different. And one of the other things that I've seen, and people don't really realize this, but you don't want to underservice your vehicle.
No.
But you also don't want to overservice your vehicle. And what happens what I've seen when I get customers, new clients that come in, I'll tell them, bring me all your records.
Mhm.
Bring all your records, and we'll start looking at it. And they either been underserviced or overserviced, and either way is not good, because you wasted a bunch of money on the overservicing it, or you've done maybe damage to your vehicle by underservicing it.
Yeah, and it's so confusing for the consumer, because by the time they come in, they really just want help. You guys, that's our job, is to make sure that we are helping and serving the clients.
Yeah.
And now when they come in, now this is where the education comes in, because see, that's part of the relationship, is that we're building the education as to why does it make sense to spend the dollars? Because let's face it, the number one way to keep your car sound and on the road is preventative maintenance. Okay.
Right.
And the thing of it is, when you're working with one repair shop, one repair facility, okay, now they can keep track and good records of when you did your oil change, when you rotated your tires, when you should replace, your spark plugs or your belts or your hoses or your cooling system or your transmission fluid or whatever fluids may need to be exchanged, or any other thing on the cars, especially.
And your driving habits.
And your driving habits.
Right.
Exactly. All that can be factored in. And the key to it is that way when you come in, it's not only familiar, but it's convenient.
Well,
See what I mean?
and
You're not
there's another
stoning
side of
over
this
every time.
coin. When this customer comes in for the first time, they may be the third or fourth owner of that car.
You bet.
We don't know anything about the history of the car prior to that.
Yeah.
We can look in Carfax or something and see, but that basically only defines certain regular services that have been done. So our first inspection of that vehicle has to be the most thorough one that's ever been done. It's not because we're digging for money. It's because we don't know anything. We don't know anything more about that car than the guy who owns it. He's the third owner of the car.
Yeah, but
And so so knowing more about how that car has been taken care of and its history by just looking at the forensic evidence, if you will,
Yeah.
it's going to tell us a lot more, because that consumer, I don't know what the last guy did to this car, didn't do to it. I just bought it, and now maybe they're the recipient of a real piece of junk, or it could be a car that was really well maintained.
yeah, and see, and to the point that both of you just made, you know what I mean? We're really trying to do what? We're really trying to prevent, unexpected or costly breakdowns, you know what I mean, along the way.
And you brought up a really good point there, because people think that we like cars on the back of tow trucks. We hate cars on the back of tow
man.
trucks. And especially if it's a regular customer of ours, it's embarrassing to us.
It is.
And we
is.
want to make sure that your car is not on the back of a tow truck, because we have a schedule, and we try to run a schedule-based business.
You bet.
We do not want to run a reactive-based business. That's
Right.
not our goal in life.
Yeah.
Right.
It's gotta be
Proactive versus
proactive.
reactive. You're
Absolutely.
always going to be way further ahead on the proactive scale.
Right. And if we can schedule you in, get your service done fix what needs to be fixed on your vehicle to keep you from being broke down, we're much happier.
No
Because
question.
now we just created a firestorm. When that thing's on the back of a tow truck, we got to go pick up Tommy from soccer practice. I got to get to work. We got to go here.
Right.
You know, we got so many things now. Now we're in a fire sale here.
Yeah,
and
we
it's-
are.
and it's no fun.
Yeah.
It's no fun for us either.
No,
it's
it isn't.
terrible.
It
And so we don't ever want to see you on the side of the road. That's our ultimate goal, is to make sure that that does not happen.
Amen to that. I'm in full agreement. And you know
Me
what?
too.
The convenience that comes with working with one repair facility really cuts that down to a minimum.
It
Because-
definitely helps a lot. Yep.
Yeah,
because
because-
we show you regular maintenance, and we
You
show
bet.
you the things that really happen in Arizona,
Right.
And in our climate and your driving habits and all those things.
Absolutely.
Once we get all that knowledge, we
Right.
can put a plan together, and we can keep you on the road. That's what we want to do, and that's that long-term relationship.
And
we
much
talk
more
about.
economically so.
Totally more economic.
that,
so.
that I think is one of the big keys to all of it, is doing it economically. Because here's the thing, when we're building, let's call it a profile, okay? We always see the crime shows and they're talking about profiling, right?
Right.
We don't profile our customers. What we do is we profile their cars. You know what I mean? We understand their driving habits. We
Right.
understand, you know what I mean? This gal is doing predominantly this type of driving, and this is how many miles she's going per day. And these are the kind of things that we can anticipate or expect. You know what I mean? And our computers help us do that. All right. Whereas we've got, someone else who's long-term salesman, and he's traveling all the time, and they're always, on the road doing distance and things like that. And, we can anticipate these things, and we're looking for that when these vehicles come in, because you know what? We want to make sure they're staying on top of, like, I think we talked in one episode, we don't want those tires getting down to the minimum. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
We don't want those fluids getting to, their longest tolerance. You know what I mean? We want to be ahead of the game. You know what I mean? Making sure that they don't run into, like you
Right,
say,
and I
a
want
tow
to say
truck.
too that certain brands of cars require a lot more
No question.
maintenance and repairs than others.
You
No
nailed
question.
it.
And
That's
so
what I was
when
gonna say. Yep.
someone comes in and they're driving a car that I'm not going to say any brands right now, but there are cars that just are going to require 3 or 4 or 5 times more repairs and maintenance because of the way that the car was built and designed. People buy cars, oftentimes it's eye candy. They buy the car that's the sexiest or the prettiest, or many people are very impractical when it comes to choosing a car. They choose it by paint color. They choose it by the kind of wheels that it has on it. They make all the cars trying to look sexy. But the real nuts and bolts are how the car is put together, how it was designed. And, we've talked about GDI, gas direct injected motors, which require a lot more maintenance and repairs than ones that aren't. And now everyone's gravitating towards those in the auto industry. So we have a responsibility and a job to do to try to explain to this person. So you have a car that is this, your previous car was that, or even if they're in for the first time, you can set the expectations, not because you're going to make more money doing it, so that they understand when it hits this mileage interval, you need to do these services, because if they go on neglected, you're going to be buying an engine or maybe another car.
I think that you really hit on something there that I appreciate. That is an expectation. What do the customers expect? Because when they come in, they have an expectation, especially when we've built a relationship and we understand and we've done, really the proper things. We've gotten to know them. We've gotten to know their driving habits. We've gotten to know what their expectation is for their vehicle, how long they want to, keep it and enjoy it, and what it needs to provide for them. How are they using their tool? Because let's face it, cars are tools. You know what I mean? And the thing of it is, by us being capable and allowing us as their teammate to be in on that, like I say, we can give way better knowledge and information and direction on how to pursue that path. And the best part about it is, when we get to be proactive or interactive with each other, it is so fun. It becomes an engagement, an experience that is enjoyable. You know what I mean? And I guess that's the real key, is that in life, you guys, I want to have enjoyable engagements. You know what I mean? I want to be able to hang around people I like. I want to be able to do things with the people I do, but I also want to get the best quality, you know what I mean? And the most longevity out of those interactions. Mm-hmm. And the key to it is, there's no other way to do that than, pick a quality repair shop. All right. Then build the relationship, understand and know what you can expect. All right. Build that trust. You know what I mean? So that you can literally make a phone call and say, hey, listen, this is what we've got going on. This is how we're doing it. This is what we're taking care of. And then have the same trust in return when they come in and say, hey, man, can you help me understand what's going on next? What do I need to do future?
Well, so what you're saying basically in a nutshell is knowledge is power.
Absolutely. Well, knowledge is power only if it's utilized.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I mean, having that knowledge is huge. And you know, one of the things that this happened at my shop years ago, long time ago, is I had a good client of mine come into my shop, and they went and got their oil changed somewhere else. And so I went out and just talked to them because we were friends. Like you said, we're on the same team, right?
Yeah.
And we're friends. So I went out there and I asked him, I said, hey, why did you take the car to get the oil change somewhere else? He goes, well, you guys don't want to waste your time with the oil changes.
Wow.
Well, boy, I'll tell you what, that was a 2x4 right upside the head.
Absolutely.
I mean, boy, I'm like, we've done a lousy job of letting, because he thought that was beneath us.
And I'm guilty, and I'm guilty of the same thing, Dave.
Yeah, we're not beneath that. We
No.
love that. We love doing the oil changes because we get an opportunity to make sure that your car is in the best shape possible. And
I
these
guarantee you these 5-minute oil change places aren't looking at anything.
Well,
they're
they
looking
can't.
at the bottom of they're actually not even taking the drain plug out. They're sucking the oil out of your dipstick tube
Yeah.
and filling it up. And you choose your oil and you choose your filter. It's like a menu at McDonald's, you
Right.
know.
Well, let me ask you guys both something. How long
There
does it
are
take?
no double cheeseburger oil filters.
Well, let me ask you guys something. How long does it take you to do an inspection on a vehicle?
Usually 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if not 30 in
Yeah.
some cars, right?
Yeah.
So if you're doing a 10-minute oil change, there is no way.
Well, there's no inspection going on. They're
Right.
not looking at
Right.
brakes. They're not looking at any safety
Well,
components.
and if you need anything else, they don't do it anyway. So why
No.
would they bother?
That's
Right.
exactly right.
There you go.
That's exactly well, because you know what? Listen, their business model is completely different than ours. And yet
Absolutely.
they do fit into the automotive sector. However, their business model is completely different. And that is, busy consumer comes in, guy just got to change the oil because let's face it, we haven't done a good job. And I'm going to say this is the other reason. All right. And I'm hoping that at one point I can talk you guys into doing a podcast on this. And that is, if you pick one shop and you go there and you're consistently going back and you meet the people and you meet the guys, how easy is the communication?
Oh, so
Way
much
easier.
easier.
I mean, you guys,
Night and
it's
day.
kind of like you not only do you know the cars, but you know the kids and the dog and the family and the grandbabies. I mean, and the thing of it is, you have really, I don't know how to call it other than that bond. You know what I mean? That
true.
really endears you to one another. But the key to it is, how much harder am I going to work for you for that? Because guess what? I'm not going to charge you more, but I am going to make sure that, you know what, when you leave, I know, that you're safe because I take that personally. You know what I
It
mean?
is. You're my friend. You're not just my customer.
Well, you're part of my family now.
So the
You know what I
difference,
mean?
it's the difference between speed dating and being in a long-term relationship.
There we go.
That's the difference right there.
There you go. You nailed it, Dave.
Dave, that is perfect. I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
you're
think
speed
about it.
dating. You're speed dating at the 5-minute oil change. And,
Yeah, that's exactly what it boils down to
Yeah,
because
you-
it's so true.
Yeah.
The thing of it is you're speed dating. You don't get a chance to know each other that well. But when
No.
you're in a long-term relationship, well, guess what?
yeah.
All the good, bad, and the ugly comes out.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. There's a word that people want to be careful with, and it's funny, but it's called caring. You know what I mean?
Mm.
We care about our people. Everybody else might call them consumers, clients, something else. I call them friends. In fact, the thing in front of our banner, our motto at Accurate Automotive is friends serving friends. You know what I mean? It's an outward expression of an inward thing that we practice. It's practiced at all of our shops.
And the word serving is very important too.
Oh, there is no question because
we
that is what we
we
do.
are your servant. If we don't have you, we don't have a business.
Yeah.
We don't have
Well,
livelihood.
And you
know?
brought up we care about our clients. Well, we also care about our internal clients.
There's no question about that.
So let's face the facts. The thing of it is our people are very important to us.
Oh,
and
no
you know what?
question.
We want to keep our people. We want them to be part of our family.
You bet.
They're not a number.
Well, it's not even a want. They are.
They are right.
We
absolutely.
go home. I mean, we can't get them out of our dang minds.
Right,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
And sometimes I want to, Dave.
Yeah. Sometimes you're like, holy crap! I got 16 more kids.
And they have kids. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes it's like herding cats. It's like us doing this podcast for our producer. She yells at us all the time. I'm waiting for her to get the ruler out one day and just start smacking us.
Ooh, I had that earlier in my years, and I got to be honest with you, that's a bad memory, and it hurts.
I had a teacher one time broke a ruler over my desk because I wasn't paying attention. I came back years later to see him, and he had the same ruler stapled. They stapled all together on the chalkboard. It was hilarious. I'm going.
Said Dave on it.
Yeah.
Dave was here.
I was that kind of kid. But now I digress. Well, let's get back to it. But the whole point is that you are much better finding a quality shop and building that relationship. And
No
this
question.
is kind of where we're going for your vehicle, for your sanity, for everything.
Mm-hmm.
The bottom line is that people want, I mean, I'm definitely a creature of habit. I'm one of those people that if I build a relationship with you, and we do the same thing with our parts vendors, we do the same things with our supporters.
You bet.
Outside of our realm, we build relationships because we want them to have our back. You know, it's something as simple as having insurance for your business, right? Well, the thing of it is I don't want to worry about that.
Right.
I got to run a business.
Right.
So you know what? I got an insurance agent that she handles it.
There you go.
You know, and it's the same thing with our parts vendors. When we got a problem with a client,
Right.
we want to throw that right in their lap and they handle it. And
Right.
it just makes things so much better and so much smoother.
Well, let me ask you a question. I mean, and I think we all fit into this same category, but you have kids, okay? And listen, we want the best for our kids. And so here's the thing. When we, refer someone, you know what I mean? Because we're clients, you know what I mean? And when we refer our kids to someone that we've utilized, we expect them to receive the same that we've gotten over the years, right? No difference.
Right.
No difference in service.
Absolutely.
How many customers do you have different generations going on? You know what I mean? So now you have their kids, and then
We
they
love
have their
that.
kids.
We love that.
Yeah.
We do love that. But the thing of it is, that's something that has been earned over time
Absolutely.
based on the simple fact that, you know what, there's been a good experience followed by a good experience. And what it's called is enhance, 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 enhance. You see what I mean?
Right.
It's not abuse, abuse, abuse. And unfortunately, we've talked about the flip side of that, where people have been in places where they have felt, even just a tiny amount of abuse, you know what I mean? And it could be something as simple as, they were told something that was necessary. I think there was a time, I think you told in a story, and it's on one of the radio programs where your wife, you know what I
Right.
mean, had gone in to get some work done somewhere, and they wanted to really tout, some of the stuff that she had needed, and none of that was actually done. But in order to even go beyond, they wanted to prove it by providing her the parts that had been taken out of the car. And upon examination, those parts didn't even come from her vehicle.
Right.
I mean, listen, not everybody, but many people have a story like that. And the thing of it is, that is going to be prevented by going to one location and building, that rapport and that relationship.
Right.
Because guess what? They were looking for the quick buck. They were looking, like you said, the speed dating. I love that.
So we're going to wrap this thing up here because we need to. But when you're building that relationship, it is like a marriage. And you know what? You have your bad days and you have your good days. Everything doesn't always go right.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? We screw up once in a while.
Oh, yeah.
But you know what? We own up to it. We say we're sorry and we fix it.
But that's that communication
That's
thing.
the communication thing.
Yeah.
And it's the same with the customer. We have that. We have that rapport, we have that relationship, and we want to keep that long-term relationship going. So,
No
hey
question.
guys, it's been another great show, and thanks for having me. I really do appreciate it, and I enjoyed this, and I'm looking forward to the next episode.
Thank you very much. And I hope the consumers, pick a shop, come in, and you know what? Let's build a relationship.
Yeah, I want to just encourage everybody if you're new in town or you're a new driver or whatever, look at shops' reviews and find out if the
Amen.
vast majority of their reviews are 4 and 5 star or 4.5. That's probably a good shop, especially if they've been in business for a long time and they've got a lot of reviews. Because there's always going to be that sour grapes person that even if you paid the person to fix their car, they still leave you a bad review. It's just personal taste. But I would encourage everybody to do that. And you got 3 shop owners in this place right now that have amazing reviews. We're not the only ones in town that do. So
No.
if you're not on our side of town, find a great shop somewhere in your area that's got a great reputation. You won't regret it.
Yeah. Thank you.
But-
Appreciate it.
See you later.